Right. Yeah, we're missing two councillors who may or may not turn up in the next minute or two.
So you're accepting the apologies from Marianne?
Yes. Proposed, seconded, all in favour of Mariam's absence. Thank you. Declarations of councillors' interests. I have nothing to I'm aware of. David?
None from me.
Yeah, I have one on 0954, that's 67 Wetlands Lane.
Okay.
None from me, Mike. None that I'm aware of.
Okay, thank you. The minutes of the last meeting, are you in agreement that they're signed off as correct? Yes, fine, thank you. I'll sign them off at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Okay.
The chair's report, just a few items here. One is that on Friday they're closing Roath Road for Bristol Water to undertake some works. There's a future home standard planning portal which you can go and look at, and that's in relation to incorporating rooftop solar panels as standard in new building. The North Somerset Council had a planning workshop which Sharon and I attended last week. It was quite comprehensive, 3-hour discussion and reports. There were some slides which we were told we would be receiving. We've yet to receive them. We talked about the government's structured restructuring of the planning consultation, and of which there's quite a lot. I can give you a brief summary if you wish to know. They talked about the fact that in future they'll be looking at building in minor, medium and major developments. Minor ones would be less than 10 dwellings, medium would be 10 to 49 and major developments would be 50 plus. I think that they were going to try to, that would be to try to encourage smaller builders to come in on the scene rather than relying on the sort of 6 major house builders in the UK and their rather copycat designs throughout the country. So there was that. They talked about the restructuring of some of the planning committees. They want smaller committees to be dealing with planning applications. As you know, they want planning applications to go through more smoothly. Reducing the number of appeals and so on. What else was there? Sustainability.
Mike, did they say anything about a green belt policy? And
well, not specifically. I mean, we did discuss around. It was representatives from, as you can imagine, most areas in North Somerset. We did talk about site-specific areas. Yes, the green belt did come up. We discussed our situation here in Portishead with Tower Farm and so on, and also made mention of the Wyndham Way as a preference in terms of development here. Let me just.
They did say that they can contact Jen, didn't they, about that to take that?
Yes, that was something that would be furthered, and as we've already discussed here, we'll perhaps have more of a placement team set up here to push it forward. And then a number of other councillors in the area talked about their specific areas and the better engagement with North Somerset councillor officers and so on. So it's all there in the local plan consultation because, as you know, the 23,475 houses, which is over a 15-year plan area time, and that equates to about 1,500 a year. So it remains to be seen whether that's likely to be achieved. So there's that, and as when the slides do come to us, then I'll make sure that they're available for you all to look at. So the next piece of information here is in relation to the local plan site allocations update. So that was a consultation which occurred between February and March, and there were 1,500 respondents. North Somerset then did a full assessment of that. The results of that are now available to be seen on the North Somerset Council reviewing local plan, etc. And you can kind of go through that and work out which particular areas have had their sort of appropriation. So some have come off completely, some have been downgraded a bit, and others have been sort of prioritised.
There's a site map, wasn't there?
Yes, it was. Yes.
Like that we can include in the minutes.
Yes, so you probably recall that the blue, the yellow, and the orange, and as I said, some of them have been removed from that strategic plan that they issued.
Yeah, so is it on a map on its own? Because it's very hard to find the current.
It is very difficult.
It's very fiddly, you know. Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Okay, that'll be much better. Okay.
Yeah. Right, I think that's the chair's report. So public participation. We have 2 online. Would you like to speak, either of you? No? Bob? Yeah. Just introduce yourself, please, Bob.
Bob will live on the Deans, will obviously be major affected by any development around Tower Farm. Hopefully we will all be kept well informed as that development, which I think perhaps unfortunately is inevitable, comes to fruition. I think that the most important thing we want to see is plans of access and that type of thing as early as possible, because the longer you leave it, the more difficult it is to change it. So that was that item. The other...
Can we just briefly mention that some of that has come off, hasn't it? The section running from Tower Farm down to Western Big Road, down at Wetlands, off Wetlands Lane, that section has come off. That.
Yeah, well, so to me, that's one of the problems. If you haven't got a through road and they hope to come out on the Downs or on Tower Farm as a road, yeah, it's just going to be mayhem. So that's a concern. I think we need to see the plan and where the access is. Would hope it's off Valley Road, but I don't know.
And this is earmarked 400 units, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, so that was one item. The other one's a bit more specific. Most of you probably know that we've, on a number of occasions, tried to alleviate the parking disaster area, which is the first part of the Downs and the Deans, to do with the school. We tried once before. The first time we tried was when there was a Conservative led council here and they didn't want to know. We tried again and a certain officer in North Somerset blocked it, and most people know his name. I'm not going to quote it here. We've now got to a situation where there's going to be a physical fight. We've had in the last, I would say this sort of winter or this year's term, at least 2 occasions of people out their cars threatening other people. One was a resident who was just trying to get out of his own road. And I think we just have to do something. I've spoken to Paul. We think that you need to have a yellow road marking on the road next to the school on the Downs, just so that at least that access area is kept clear. The other problem with it is that the teachers park there, so they're there all day, you know, and then you get the people opposite side of the road parked and it becomes a single road. And it wasn't until I couldn't see a car coming the other day, I realised there's a slight curve. And so if you're trying to pull out of the Deans and there's something parked on the end, which at this point in time was a van, you can't see if there's anything coming down the road. He's forward, a bloke coming down in a BMW who was clearly looking to join in at Silverstone this weekend, nearly took the front of my car off. You know, I mean, I stopped and he went round me. But the only luck we've got is that there is a markings opposite the end of the Deans, because there's a gateway there to the school and there was nobody parked there. But sometimes they do. If he hadn't had anywhere to go, he'd have probably hit the side of my car. So I think that needs seriously looking at from a safety point of view. And similarly, when you pull out of the Downs, they park opposite. There's a stretch of road there, and they park right opposite the turning, which means, again, because you can't see cars coming up the road, you pull out, there's nowhere to go if something's coming, and you end up with people just stopped in the middle of the road. So I think that area looks at, and we've put a letter into the council to have a look at that. So hopefully we'll get some support in trying to get something done.
A couple of afternoons ago, Bob, I did go actually down there to have a look at the school end of day. I can't disagree with you. Yes, it is a single lane effectively, isn't it? Slightly wider than a single car width, but you probably couldn't get two passing each other. And I was quite surprised by how many were actually parked all the way down towards the stile. So yes, I can see that there's a bit of an issue there.
So I think what we'll do, we've obviously got the North Somerset open, whatever it's called, open door policy, isn't it? So we'll highways improvements. So I'll put something together. Bob's kindly provided a lot of photographs, so I'll put a paper together and put it for this committee so that we can then formally ratify it and then put it through the North Somerset process. I think that's the way to go. We probably need to do a bit of lobbying of our district councillors, two of them as well, to get their support.
I presume this is just an afternoon event, isn't it?
It's the morning and afternoon. The morning one, the first time that it came up, the lady opposite, who's now a widow, was trying to get to the doctors. And this was back in the Conservative Council here, so some years ago. And she couldn't get out. And she literally got out of her car and went back to her husband in tears, said, I can't make the appointment. And he had to go up and reverse the car back and put it and all that. He's passed away since then. So, but it can get that bad. And there are, the Deans is a funny road because it was built in 1970. So there's a number of old fogies like me there. And some of them have to get out in the mornings, but a lot of them, it's people just going to work and getting out. And they get quite excited if they can't get out because people don't like you getting late for work. So I think it's a difficult situation.
Yeah. Thank you. Online, would you like to add anything or make any comments? Nope. Right. Moving on then, we'll talk about the specific applications that we have in front of us, starting with 0954, 67 Wetlands Lane. This is a demolition of an existing garage, carport and the rear conservatory, and proposed erection of a double-storey side extension and a single-storey rear extension to form additional living accommodation. You've all seen the plans here, and they're not alone. This has happened elsewhere along wetlands and some of the adjoining streets. Comments from the floor?
You say it's happened before, so yeah.
Yeah. I recommend no objection.
Exactly.
Yeah. Seconded?
Yeah. No.
Okay.
All those in favour?
Yep. Bob, you're abstaining. So that's carried then. Thank you. The next one we have discussed in the past, 1117, land to the rear of 69 South Road, which is actually on Woodhill Park, the particular dwelling in the rear garden of 69 South Road. The plan in front of you is an amendment in a sense. They just want to lower the footings of that building into the ground, same pitch, same roof ridge height, and a couple of issues with changes to the fenestration and so on. Again, I don't see any particular issue. I think the neighbours happy with this current amendment. Any comments? No. No objection. Seconded. All in favour? No objection. Carried. Thank you. 1126. Well, we have a couple of trees. Do we have any comments on the trees? Coach House, Battery Lane, The Knoll. I mean, we just make more of an observation, really.
Removing Leyland has got to be a good thing, so.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
We're not voting on those.
No comments on either of those?
No comment. No. So 1126, 71 Woodacre, proposed erection of a single-storey rear extension to provide additional living accommodation. This backs onto Pier Road, the garden. I don't see any particular issue with it. There is one on the adjoining property, so it comes out more or less the same.
Yeah. No objection.
No objection. Seconded
No
by
objection.
Martin. Okay. No objection. Right. Up on the down road, pole going up, 9-meter pole. Any comments? This is for, yeah, statutory communications, presumably internet or whatever. Another TPO on the downs, which I think other neighbours were saying that they were very keen on seeing them done. Fennel, 53 Fennel, 1078, removal of the cladding and replacement with the other boarding.
No objection.
All in favour, yes. Another TPO, 48 the Deans. Nope, no comments. That's another 10 Blenheim Way, which is an application 1161. This is the proposed conversion of the existing attached garage into livable space. An enclosure of the existing front porch, erection of a single-storey rear extension and first floor side extension. I think there are no comments online. No. Anyone wishing to make a comment?
Pretty standard, isn't it? There's plenty of room down that road, so it's fine.
David, yes.
I think I made some comments about this. I'm just quickly checking my notes. I just found that looking at the plans that they were rather limited and difficult to assess the window angles regarding neighbours, and there was no response in the plans about how they were going to meet the North Somerset risk assessment. But I assume that's something they'll be asked to do when the officer looks at it. But my issue was this: that the plans were somewhat limited, and I couldn't, couldn't see whether the 30-degree rule was applicable here.
Difficult to say. I mean, looking at the positioning of the house in Blenheim Way, it's a fairly large plot, isn't it, with a road in front. You were concerned in respect to neighbours at the rear?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't think when
keep up with
I last looked, there were no comments online.
No.
Has that changed?
No, it hasn't changed. No,
it hasn't changed.
Just check that.
Did you say also about the flood risk, David?
Yeah, I mean, there's a flood risk report with it, which raises 2 or 3 issues, I think. And the plan, I guess they'll be asked to address those. I'm not sure what order things appear online, whether the plans go up first and the flood risk assessment goes up, or vice. I'm not sure what order they occur, but in the plans, as I could see it, there was no mention made of how they'd address the concerns raised by the flood risk assessment.
Does that just you're down to proximity in terms of?
Can you bear with me, Tick? I need to catch up with this is 10 Blenheim Way, isn't it? I need to get the full plans in front of me.
Design is a flood risk assessment.
Okay. How do you? I mean, it's unlikely to make any difference to the existing property, is it, in terms of additional flood risk or anything in that respect?
I guess it's been raised because of the concerns about that area have come up since those properties were built, which is why it's gone to the flood risk assessment.
Right. Yeah.
That'll be covered under building reg, surely, won't it? I'm talking nonsense.
No, you're not talking nonsense, David. Don't worry. No. It's good to you're flagging up a comment which you're entitled to do. Do others have any objection to it in principle?
No, not at all. There's plenty of space at the front and the back. Yeah. I know it's a double story, but I can't see from looking at this or the plan that it's an overlooking problem. There's quite a large plot, isn't it? So I can't say it's going to affect the people off the road the other side. I don't know this really.
Yeah, it's a cul-de-sac. Yeah. Well, they're all cul-de-sacs.
No objection. Why?
Okay. Would you like to propose that then?
Yes.
Seconded by Paul. No objection.
Do you want to abstain?
Okay. Double 162 Badger Rise, proposed erection with single-story rear extension following demolition of the existing conservatory. This is tucked up at the top of the cul-de-sac, well, a cul-de-sac off Badger Rise. 162. There is a comment online in relation to one of the side windows proposed on the northwestern elevation. This objection came from the adjoining property on Valley Road. I'm not fully aware of the issue there in respect to the distance between the property and the window, said window, whether it's just regarding the aspect overlooking their rear garden. I assume that's what it's to do with. Further comments? Yes, David, you've flagged one up again, haven't you? Which is, yes, more or less what I've just said, isn't it? Yeah.
The neighbours, I think, are concerned, and it's hard for us to tell because having got up there, you can't see the potential for overlooking. You don't know how high the fence is for the neighbour's backyard. So I think the comments there online, so North Somerset Planning will presumably see that.
They will. Oh yeah, sure.
Okay, so I'll sort of deal with it. So yeah, I don't think we've got anything to add really. So.
Well, I mean, it could be that the fence is raised, or the window becomes obscured glass, or the fenestration is moved. I don't know. Any further comments from the floor? With a proposal, please, from someone? No objection, Paul. Seconded by Martin. No objection. It's unanimous.
Chair, can I just go back to the previous one? I've just spotted what my concern was. Or am I too late?
No, carry on.
And again, perhaps you guys who are more experienced than me will be able to tell me if I'm barking up the wrong tree. But I was just looking at the existing side elevations, and as I see it, and I may be viewing it wrongly, for the extension, there are new windows being put on the side of the residence where there weren't previously windows. And that was where my concern arose from.
In Blenheim?
Yeah. Have I got that wrong?
So which specific windows were you thinking of? The long slit one? Mm-hmm. Well, again, the issue would get flagged up at North Somerset in terms of that. Yeah. I mean, they clearly designed it in such a way that it might be minimizing the impact on the neighbouring property. Well, it's part of that extension, isn't it? Okay. Which goes into... Do you wish to add that as a comment?
So, objection subject to no overlooking on neighbour's property.
Yeah.
From side elevation windows.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes. Sorry?
Can you vote on
that? We will vote on that amendment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, carried it. Yeah. Sadly, the next application 1206 is from NatWest, who, of course, we all know are planning to close in the autumn, I believe. And this is removal of the ATM. So unless they put one into the banking hub, there will be no ATMs in the high street. Am I correct in saying that? Mm. The nearest one will be Waitrose Garage, would it be?
Or Waitrose shop.
Garage or shop.
Was there not some idea that we were going to get one before this actually closes?
Yeah, that's what that's what we've been told. Yeah. So cash access are supposed to be putting in the banking hub before NatWest closes. Oh. But that won't come with a cash point. It's going to come with It's going to come with banking advisors and a cash. You can take.
Where's that going to be?
No, that's the next step.
We wish we did.
Yeah, they're looking for suitable properties at the moment. So which might not necessarily be a bank. In fact, I understand they prefer non-banks because they're usually quite expensive to rent, and they don't need the strong room and all that kind of stuff.
So are you saying that they don't normally put an ATM into banking hubs?
I'm not sure. I honestly don't know. That's a question for them.
Right.
Whether that will come with an ATM, I have no idea. Obviously, there will be a cash services there when it's open, but whether it's
Yeah.
Don't know.
Well, sadly, we have to vote on this. Yes, Bob.
Although I'm biased because I'm a NatWest customer, I assume I think they agreed that they won't leave before the hub is open.
I understand that
That's
is
my understanding.
what I've heard.
So one would assume that they would keep that ATM running until they're, once they've had planning permission to do it, they don't have to do it until they close down.
Well, your guess is as good as mine. I assume that they probably have a date of closure, don't they? Which will be tied up with their leasing arrangements.
Yeah.
And I don't know when that's.
But I'm just thinking, as you say, otherwise there isn't anything
in
the high street. But if they're tied together, I didn't realise those hubs are actually run by a banking consortium anyway.
The banking hub, exactly. So Cash Access is a not-for-profit company that's fully funded by the main banks.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you'd think that someone could tie that all together. Yeah. Well, I don't know whether the council needs to ask the question.
Well, we did receive a deck, a presentation deck from Cash Access, and it says in there their policy is always to come in before the last bank leaves, or basically the next day they will arrive. But that's their aim, and that's what they're tasked.
But it doesn't say anything specifically in there about a cash machine.
I don't remember reading anything about the cash machine, but we can ask. Can we ask Nikki to? She's got the contact. Could you just ask Nikki to ask the question? So,
and as we're only a couple of months away from their proposed closure date, you would have thought that someone somewhere would know that there is a particular building in the high street which is under discussion.
It's ironic because for once that north of the town is quite well done. There's one in the co-op and there's one by the pharmacy.
Indeed, yeah. So Anyway, we'll ask. We're in contact with Cash Access, so we'll ask the questions. So,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
Oh, did we vote on that?
No.
No.
So no objection. Yeah.
No objection to it. No. Okay. And then 1251 Coleridge Cottage. This is a single-story rear extension and a new front porch with cladding, stone cladding. And I popped around there on my way down here this evening to see if there was a sample of said cladding. The applicants are away, but their parents-in-law. And yes, they don't know. They're going up apparently shortly to see some examples of cladding. Because I think we all probably feel, oh gosh, cladding, stone cladding, from the 1970s, 80s, whatever. But anyway, I'm sure it's come on.
Hope so.
It's currently Tyroleaned, the building, so I assume they'll hack all that off. I don't, and then clad over the top of it. Maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, so we're discussing the extension that they have, proposing at the rear. Any comments?
It's okay now.
David?
It looks fine to me. I just had one comment and a question really about this. I popped around like you might to have a quick look at it. And I couldn't see any street notice of development or planning. Usually, as far as I understand, there should be a sign outside. Actually, in a couple of places I visited, there was no visible evidence of a sign. And I just wonder if it's worth raising with North Somerset Planning whether what's going on.
Well spotted. Well spotted.
So I could name 3 of the properties I popped round to
Yes.
that didn't have it.
Yes.
And I think that's really bad if neighbours aren't made aware.
Yeah. Good point.
And particularly as from personal experience, letters informing of changes to plans don't get sent to neighbours. So if that could...
Sorry, Sharon. What's the process at the moment? You say that the
process is they are reliant on residents who apply for plan permission to put a notice up.
So it used to be that North Somerset would put the notice up, but now it's the resident. It's up to the residents. So that's the problem.
But there's no harm in noting it.
Yeah.
In the comment.
Yeah. Put it in the comment. Put it in the comment. Yes.
I think we should.
I'd, rather than make it in relation to this specific property, a generic comment, if one could.
I think you need to do it to each particular one. Yeah.
It may not.
Yeah. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So is that no objection as well?
Yeah. No. Well, I think there's no objection with a comment that there's no planning application visible. So.
Yep.
Okay. Proposed second. All in favour?
Yes, carried. Yes. Right, so the next batch are, again, TPOs, 4 of them. 3 Beach Road West, 2 Blacknall Point, 1 White Lodge Park, and 15 Church Road North. Again, we're just consultees. Any comments about any of those?
No, it seems fine to me.
Yeah. And then 29 Newfoundland Way, which is 1219, single story rear and side extension. Any comments from anyone? I don't think. Are you busy looking at it?
No, just looking at it.
Apologies, I missed this one. Was this one of the late ones that came through? Yes, I haven't had a chance to look at it, I'm afraid.
So what is it? Is it an extension? Is it?
Yeah, it's a single story rear and side extension. 29 Newfoundland Way.
It's right next to the commercial units, isn't it? So yeah, I'll ask. It's the first house on Newfoundland Way, isn't it? So okay, yeah.
Do you want to vote on it or defer it?
Defer it.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Bring it into next.
Bring it to the next one.
Okay. Right. So moving on to 2 that were deferred from last month for the similar reason. 1032 11 Hillcrest Roads. Demolition of an existing single-story extension and bay window to the front elevation and proposed erection of double-story extensions to the front and rear to include raising of the existing ridge lines and a single-story rear extension with balcony above. Proposed conversion of the existing side garage into habitable use and new rear roof terraces at ground and first floor levels. Right. So this one sits sort of in the middle of the houses there. A lot of them have been altered over the years in various ways. But it's quite a different.
It's quite a boost, isn't it?
From its current guise. Right, comments from the floor. My personal take on this is that it's a little OTT in terms of its design and its appearance in the street scene. yes, it's a contemporary take on a modern house, but it's quite a change from its existing guise.
I find that thing just overbearing, and the design just not in keeping with there's nothing else around us that looks anything quite like it, and it's such a change from what went before. I don't know.
What about the height of the building in terms of its elevations? Do we feel that it's an appropriate space to have a two-story house?
Yes, absolutely. I think it's far too high for where it is. I don't know how you change that, but
Well, the fact it's got a double pitch, would you consider it to be 2 stories with a single pitch? Would be more in keeping?
Yes.
More like the current property which is there.
Absolutely.
So are we objecting on the grounds that it's overbearing and not in keeping with the street scene?
I think we're minded to, David.
Yeah. I had to look at this because there are 7 comments on there online about this. It seems to be a split vote. It looks like people who are keen to develop their own houses similarly are in favour, and others who've lived there somewhere are less so. So I thought it was, one we should look at carefully. There were concerns raised about the obstruction to the view of people living opposite. I didn't think that was. I don't think loss of view is a planning issue.
No, it's not.
I was concerned about overbearing. I think 11A, which is right behind it, may be a little bit dwarfed because I think this development reaches into the back garden, and I think there's a terrace as well on the side of it, which may overlook one of the neighbours' back gardens. So my sense, so I was less concerned about. The street itself has got a whole range of different designs, so I wasn't so concerned about the street scene. I thought, it's the variety of different houses, that's less of an issue, but I was concerned just about the size in relation to some of the neighbouring properties. So it was loss of privacy and potential overbearing, which I think the planning officer should consider.
Well, the planning rule is if it's overbearing, you can object on that basis. So I think everyone's saying that. So
I'm a bit concerned this is going to set a precedent, of course.
Yeah. Okay.
These go through.
But if we object to it on that basis, then the planning officers can consider us.
Overbearing loss of privacy.
I think we can add to that in terms of the overbearing aspect. The ridge height has gone up quite considerably, hasn't it? And I think it does have an impact on the neighbouring properties, including the one at the rear, as mentioned.
Well, what's the motion, Sharon?
I've got objects, overbearing, height of ridge, and loss of privacy.
Okay, you don't have your mic on there, but say it again. Yeah. Yeah.
So I've got objects, overbearing, height of ridge, and loss of privacy.
Yeah. What about the effect on the street scene? Are we not minded to be too worried about that one?
Well, those are the key. Those are the key items that we've got down there. So.
Okay. Fine.
Yeah.
What I found quite unhelpful with this particular plan and with others is they don't actually show the street scene on them. You have to go on Google Maps to see that. It'd been really nice if the plans had shown the adjacent properties. So you got a little bit of a sense of the rhythm of the area. But
all right, so we're going to vote on that motion. Shall I propose it? Yep.
Seconded by Bob. And all in favour?
Yep. Okay.
Are those objections? Yeah.
Yes. We're unanimous on that. Thank you. Lastly, of this batch, 1034, 1 Kings Road. This one has a couple of comments online. Demolition of the existing conservatory and proposed erection of a 2-story side and single-story rear extensions and a new detached front garage. Alterations to the boundary treatments and the new access, including a drop curb. Now, this one is a semi, and the other half of the house, although it's not yet been started, got consent back in December. for fairly similar sorts of changes. The town council objected on the grounds that it was a loss of a two-bedroom property, but that was overruled by North Somerset Council, who approved it. And although I didn't specifically agree to that at the time, but this one is a similar property, as I said. So I'm going to propose that we approve it.
Yep, I'll second that.
So no objection, yeah?
David?
I don't think we can reject properties on the basis that they're moving from 2 to 4 bedroom. My only concern with this one was that there's only as far as I could see, parking space for 1 car on the plan. If they move from 2 to 4, they need to have parking for.
You can do, because there's the neighbourhood plan. There's a planning policy to keep as many 2-bedroom properties in Portishead as possible. So you can object on that basis. Yeah, so
which is what was flagged up last time and voted in favour of.
But given that they've already done next door, there's no point objecting to it.
No.
Just on that point, I think just as a general observation from the couple of planning committees I've been to, I've seen a lot of 1, 2-bedroom houses extend to 3 or 4 bedrooms. I wonder whether it's worth us keeping a record for that, as we've got these upcoming plans going in for the Tower Road area. Because if we're losing all our small properties and we're gaining a whole load more big properties, I think if we can keep some kind of track of that change, it would provide quite a useful argument in terms of planning out those new developments.
Noted, David. Yeah. Okay. But of course, there's also the argument about people just wanting to extend and modernise their homes, isn't?
Well, of course, I don't have any problems with that. It's just the overall housing stock in Portishead and the change of the nature of the place. If it's impossible for first-time buyers, elderly folk are looking to downsize, can't buy a property locally.
Yeah. Sure. Right, so did we vote on that? Approval? Yes, we did, didn't we?
The video on my screen's frozen, so I don't know if something's happened. We haven't got us in visual anymore, have we? Yeah, I think we've got a bit of an issue at the minute, because I've got a level of Zoom here. Yeah.
These things happen.
Right.
People online actually saying things like that.
They finished. They left actually as soon as you discussed 11 foot crest.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Yes, I noticed it gone. Okay. So the other batch of applications came in this week anyway, so they're not on here. So we have, what have we got here? 8.2 Town and Country Planning Act 1990 appeal. Oh, that was the land at Moor Farm on Valley Road. Now, we voted in favour of development on that up to a maximum of 8 dwellings, which is what they put in on the outline, which I think we felt was in accordance with the site boundaries and the spacing between them all. And I don't quite know why North Somerset threw it out, but they did. And so they've taken it to appeal. And I asked that question at the planning workshop, just how much they get charged, how much it costs. And was it 80 to 100,000 if they lose an appeal? Because they lost one recently, didn't they, on Glen Orkney on Lake Road? Right. So highways improvements request, going back to what you mentioned, Paul.
So, just check that you're not going to.
Oh, we don't. Are we likely to want to change any comments on what we?
Let them run the process.
Yeah. I mean, it's inevitable. The farm's no longer being used. It's a big block of land there. What else would they do with it? What are we looking at here? So highways improvements, Cadbury Road, double yellow lines outside number 11. Right, yes. I have been dealing with the occupants at number 11, and they do sometimes have their neighbour, where there are issues, parking over their drop curb. They do have a drop curb and parking off street, whereas the neighbours don't. And I think there's a little bit of difficulty between the two families. Which involves other things which I've been helping with, if I can. But, right, so Clevedon Road, double yellow lines either side of the entrance to Gertie Gales. So presumably parking issues there as well, which you probably know more about than I do.
Yeah.
Is that?
I can't show the photograph.
Is that people accessing the little car park there then?
It's the car park. It's the obviously young drivers that are parking there as well.
The sixth formers.
It's becoming quite a risky area. I mean, to be honest, if personally, I would rather see the unused pavement removed, so it gives them a drop-in area that they could park their car safely without any hassle. But the trouble is it creates a blockage down Old Clevedon Road, just by the school, and then you've got obviously the issue with the safety of the children. You're talking in excess of 900 students walking out virtually all at the same time.
Yes. In my day at sixth form there, no one drove.
I think on average it's about 32 cars.
Really?
Just parked in that section.
Are they not allowed to park in the rear car park then?
Yeah, that's it. I think I'm not sure. There was a dispute before about that. We got the contact before they talk about.
Do you know any more about this one?
It's not with circular death, I'm afraid.
Circular death.
Can I just ask what our role is with these? Are we being asked to approve them? It says the district councillor has to sign off. Where do we fit in with it all?
Well, the recommendation, as you can see, is to consider requests for highway improvements in accordance with the Town Council's policy and determine whether the Town Council supports the application to progress to the next stage of North Somerset Council's one front door process.
Yeah,
yes, we can say yes, we are in agreement with dealing with these issues.
So it's like you did with Moor Road. So if we approve this, one of us or the office will basically fill the form in and send it off to North Somerset and put it in the process. So we're just saying, do we want to put it in the process or not? That's basically it. Yeah.
So do we need a district councillor? One of our district councillors to sign off, because the form says it needs to sign off.
Yeah, you need to get the district councillor on side. Yeah. So this one will be Peter Burden. So yeah.
So it'd be good to have their input.
Well, what we should do is we should approve it here, and then we should fill the form in, and then go and talk to the district councillor.
The form will be filled in.
Yeah, okay, so
it needs to know whether we've got a minute number that agrees to it.
Yeah,
then it goes to the district councillor.
Yeah.
And then it goes to North Somerset Council. Without that process, North Somerset Council won't deal with any that have not gone through this council or the district councillor.
Okay, I get it. So we sign it off first, then it goes to the district councillor. Right.
Yeah, well, yeah. When it goes to the district council, we need to make sure we represent it. We don't just send them an email. So otherwise, it could just all fall in a heap. So, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, ideally, these should be coming.
Yeah.
So it's probably best when we send it off.
Yeah.
We copy in the district, the ward councillors into the email to the district councillor, so that ward councillor is aware that it's gone to the district councillor should they wish to lobby them.
Yeah. So it should really. So which ward is this one? That's in the South Ward. So it's up to you, Bob and Marianne, to make sure that Peter's briefed. Yeah,
that's a pair of them.
Yeah, I'm sure you have. But that just also wasn't picking on you. But that's basically the process. Yeah.
And the origins of this form is a resident, or has it come through you, Mike? So the process is a resident completes one of these forms. It then comes to our committee.
The resident can, but we can do it on their behalf. So So,
I mean, I believe up on Down Road around by the school, the markings for entrances into driveways is white line, isn't it? It's normally a kind of a white blockage.
T-bar.
T-bar.
Doesn't have any legal.
No.
Doesn't have any legal position, and you have to pay for it. But again, down on the marina area, there were a couple put in when I was dealing with it because it was handicapped people couldn't get their cars in and out, and people then observed it. So I think they work as H-bars, but they don't have any legal.
Because I think the Cadbury Road one, 11 Cadbury Road, and it's unlikely they'll put just a tiny little piece of double yellow there, would it?
Yeah,
it's someone's driveway, so
It's
they'll probably
different.
just do the white
Yeah.
T-bar, won't they?
yes.
So I think that probably needs amending, really.
Yeah, I think we should go for the T-bar, and we should notify the resident. I think you can look it up on North Somerset website, but I think it's like £96 it costs, so they have to pay for it.
Oh, okay.
So, but it's not. I mean, it's £96, isn't it? It's not £9,000, but yeah.
Right. So we'll make an amendment on that
Right.
one.
Okay. So the Cadbury Road one, you're talking about a H-bar, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Clevedon double
So
yellows.
putting it through the double.
Yeah,
Through the
yeah,
process.
put it through the process. Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay. And the Clevedon Road one, the double yellows.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And Burlington double yellows, a bit like the situation up at the Deans, isn't it?
yeah, yeah.
Again, it's another. It's by the school.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Sharon, you're going to put those through. So you're basically copying the ward councillor, the ward town councillor, and then making it clear to them. One of us, at the East Ward one of us will pick that up. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Fine. We're all in agreement about that, aren't we? Right. So 8.4, North Somerset's pharmaceutical needs. Now, this is a consultation which Bristol City Council and South Gloucestershire are doing until the end of August, and they just really want to know where all the chemists are. How many have we got left? One up to the top.
I'll fill in this form. Yes, there's only one.
You've got plenty of time on this one, haven't you?
Yeah, end of August, isn't it?
To bring this one back.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like they're only flagging 3 pharmacies in what you said. So my concern with this from a brief read was that we've got fewer per capita than Clevedon. And ours are very often not open. I just wonder where any recommendation from this is going to go. Is it going to allow us to get more pharmacies in? Because I guess they won't come if there isn't business.
It might be down to the demand. I mean, I noticed the Royal Mail had a letter from the Royal Mail, advertising them. They'll come deliver your prescriptions. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm guessing, but given that we have a fairly young population, probably most people, all those people, just get it online. So, and that's why pharmacies are closing, because more and more people use an online delivery service because they haven't got to go and sit in stand in a queue with people getting their methadone and whatever else. They can just
and if you want the last plus, you just go in the supermarket, don't you?
Exactly. So anyway,
It's always going to be some need for provision for elderly folk who don't go online. I think I agree, Paul. Increasingly people are ordering their prescriptions online, but the very people who use prescriptions most are the elderly, people with dementia. Well, maybe not people with carers, people with dementia. So I do think we need to be careful about our level of walk-in provision.
Well, as you well know, David, the one up on West Hill is doing very, very well, isn't it? It's doubled in size, and consultation rooms.
Yeah, I mean, while we've got one, it's infinitely better than having none, isn't it?
Yeah.
So as long as we keep one, that's okay. But I guess the market has decided that we don't need any more.
Well, the health centre's still got one attached, isn't it? For prescriptions, and ditto the one at Waitrose.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I don't know. Is this a public consultation? Because it's more. I mean, we can all have our views, but I suppose you need to hear from the public, really.
When I come into it, it does ask you what sort of response you're making. Is it a parish council? There's a whole list of them. So I think it's from users.
Well, that's good. I mean, to David's point, I mean, obviously a lot of elderly people have got regular repeat prescriptions, but to be honest, once they get organised, it's much easier to have them delivered by the Royal Mail. So,
in answer to your question, Paul, anyone who uses or works with pharmacy services can respond to the consultation. And then there's a link there, North Somerset Pharmaceutical Needs Assessment consultation. So it's through North Somerset, but Bristol City Council, I think, running.
Yeah.
David?
Should we put out some comms just to make people who follow our Facebook page aware that this is happening.
Yep.
Yeah.
Duly noted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still circle of death.
Oh.
It'll
Right, so now, there we go.
need
All
to-
done.
need to
So we're going to put that as comms, but what about the town council? Are you going to bring it back next month? Or get somebody comments for next month? Or
I'm happy to have a read through and give you some comments which we can approve, and if you like.
bring it back to the meeting?
And Paul and I will disagree about them.
Thank you. Happy to have that. Good. And so lastly, you've got your information of the recent batch of approvals, and yeah, they've all been approved, haven't they? So anything of interest there? Or ones we've done in the past? The Howham Farm access, that's I came past on the bus last week sometime, and they've already done most of it. That's the farm access through the field by the allotment there. Right. So the date of the next meeting, 6th of August. Thank you all for attending.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.